Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a post, and this is from Heidi, great post in response to one of our actual videos that we'd already done. And she just brought up a really good point that I thought would be a great idea to kind of talk to you about. Give you a really good tip here when it comes to how to program the training of your muscle groups. And what Heidi was mentioning was that her husband likes to train his deltoids and just give his deltoids full focus on one workout day. And in response to that, now look, there's a lot kind of to unpack with this, but I wanted to keep it very, very simple and make this tip because it's really important when you're training people to remember this one important tip, okay? And that is that as a personal fitness trainer, not as a person that just works out and trains yourself, but as a fitness trainer, your goal, whether it's programming, nutrition, all of those variables that go into helping people to become healthier, stronger, whatever the adjective is that you want to use. The goal is always to keep in mind what their ultimate desired goal is going to be. And the vast majority of people you're ever going to train, if you're a personal fitness trainer in the fitness industry, whether you're training people at a club, boutique, training center, you have your own facility, the vast majority of people that are going to come in and pay for your services want to lose body fat or body weight. They also want to become healthier, feel better, and all the other, right? You make the list of benefits that folks know they want to get from a trainer. So it's a great post, but here is the one tip. Make sure that you are operating your business in the most effective, efficient way. And that's why at Body Design, we talk about the 3-day split routine as that's kind of the final way you're going to train people when it comes to frequency of training. Now, Heidi spoke about that her husband, for instance, wants to do just his shoulders. And so let's just give her, for instance, if he's training 5 days a week or 6 days a week, resistance training wise, then absolutely, you're going to need to break up. You're going to need to do your split routines in such a way that's going to allow for this increased volume for particular muscle groups. So in this particular instance, I'll give you an example. I used to train my shoulders and my biceps and triceps on, I think it was Mondays and Thursdays. And then on Tuesdays, I trained all my muscle groups twice a week. Now, I also trained resistance training 6 days a week, but that was an athletic endeavor. When we're training the average client, we're not interested in athletic endeavors, which is why we focus so much on the nutrition and the cardiorespiratory resistance training component, high intensity interval training. So again, the tip here is make sure your business model is the most effective and efficient for the clients you're going to service. The answer to the question of, is it a problem to train a particular muscle group? In this case, for instance, the deltoids, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, it really doesn't matter. Or for instance, again, in this case, on Mondays, I just train my delts. Sure, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you're an athlete, just as a for instance, and you're not training anybody. Again, I wouldn't put, for instance, that type of programming together for a client unless that client was, for instance, a competitive bodybuilder. Most bodybuilders are simply not going to come in for training with me 5-6 days a week. That's just not generally how it works. However, but let's just say somebody did say, look, I want to train 6 days a week, resistance training. Well, think about it. More than likely, I would be doing quads on one day, right? Because there's a lot of volume you'd have to get into to train just your quads, your hamstrings. Yes, perhaps I would train my chest on one day all by itself, back on one day all by itself, arms, biceps and triceps, all. I hope you get the idea that when you decide to program your muscle groups, you can do it any way you want. But the tip I'm giving you this week is make sure that you understand that in the personal training world, right, as a fitness professional, you're probably not going to do any one body part all by itself. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to train my chest one day all by itself in the morning. Okay, just as a for instance. And then later in the day, I used to do a double split routine, aka Arnold Schwarzenegger, right before we'd get ready for a contest. There are some bodybuilders that still do that, but you see what I've just done for you is I've isolated the bodybuilding world, right? Athletes that need to increase and have higher volume meaning more sets, more reps, more exercises for a particular body part. And I'm distinguishing that and isolating that from the world that you're going to live in, so to speak, when it comes to making a living, which is personal fitness training. And in the world of personal fitness training, elements such as volume, and number of exercises, things like that are not as critical for accomplishing the goals you want to accomplish for the vast majority of your clients. So I hope that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with training pretty much any way you want to train, as long as you can recover, okay, from the training on a regular basis, then that's pretty much up to you. But as soon as you decide that you want to have a business and you're going to train clients, well, how many days a week is the average client going to train with you, right? Please don't charge $20 a workout. Charge the $50+ a workout that we charge people in today's day and age. Well, now, wait a minute. That's putting it up to $400-500 per month. How many people can actually afford that? For those that can afford that, how many of them are going to be able to train with you 6 days a week? Just as a for instance, where you're doing fewer and fewer body parts per workout. Now I've got to increase the total volume. I'll use the deltoids as a great example. If I train my shoulders, and by the way, it could be biceps or quads, but if I train my deltoids once, right, and that's the only muscle group that I'm working on a Monday, let's just say it's a Monday, right, and it's the only, well, how many exercises and how much volume am I going to put into that workout? Quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. If I come in on a Monday, I'm doing lateral raises. I'm doing shoulder presses. I'm doing rear deltoid, bent over lateral raises. I'm doing front lateral raises. I'm doing upright rows, you name it. I can do, holy cow, I can do 5, maybe 6 exercises just for my deltoid. And if I'm a bodybuilder or I'm an athlete, just as a for instance, maybe that's what I need to do. It's a little excessive for the most part, unless I'm getting really, really good recovery, but you get the idea. Let's just say I'm doing 5 exercises, 2 sets, let's say 3 sets. More than likely, that's 10 to 12 to 15 sets just for my deltoids. That's a good amount of volume on my deltoids. Now, again, it's not that you're not going to do that or that's a problem. If you can recover from that, fantastic. But if you're not recovering from it, then you have to obviously go back to a more sensible level of volume. There's simply no way that the average client would ever be able to recover from that. Because remember, if I train, let's just say I train my chest on Monday, right? What am I going to train on Tuesday? Right? Maybe my back, maybe on Wednesday. You get the idea. There's a whole lot of muscle specific recovery that I need. The average client simply is not going to get that recovery. Therefore, we're going to make sure we have at least a day or two, perhaps, in between our resistance training workouts for the average client. Folks, the most important tip you get when it comes to how you're going to train, split routine training, is to always go back to, first and foremost, what is your business model going to look like? If I train athletes, it's going to be very different. I have to use a lot more volume. I'm going to probably train for, and I'll be honest with you, here's real world, track and field athletes, high level, national level, and NCAA athletes that I've trained for the field events like javelin, shot put. Oh no, they're training no more than 4 days a week. in the off season, So that just kind of gives you a understanding of exactly what, even in the athletic arena, we're dealing with. Bodybuilders, not so much. I'm going to train them. They're going to train 6 days a week normally. Okay. And we're going to do much higher volume of training. So for sure, I can train deltoids just as a, for instance, on its own. More than likely, though, I'm going to train shoulders in the morning. I'm going to do a double split routine, perhaps with a body, but depending on their recovery ability. But with my average client, no, 3 days a week is about it. Deltoids in this case, and Heidi, because her husband does it, you train, have fun, do as much volume as your muscles can handle, especially if you're in really, really good shape. I am going to get my clients, however, that I deal with, who probably don't recover very well, they don't eat well, more focused on fat loss than anything else. I'm going to kind of ratchet down the total volume of training that I can do on any specific muscle group, so that finally, remember that one tip, it's your business model. The recommendation, it's worked for decades: push, pull, legs. If you're training people 3 days a week, which is the max we recommend, the max, push muscles, chest, shoulders, tries, pulling muscles, back, buys, right, traps, things like that, and legs. 2 days a week, 2 days a week workouts, because that's all they can afford, which is generally going to be why they do 2 days a week. Upper body, all the muscles of the upper body, Tuesday, legs on Thursday, and then they get a lot of recovery time until the next week. And then 1 day a week is going to be on Saturday, 1 day a week. Okay. All the muscle groups. I know it sounds crazy, but it works, especially when you get their nutrition on point. Folks, our goal here is to help you to be successful in the training industry. Please, please, train however you want personally. Absolutely. Just make sure you're recovering from your workouts and that you enjoy your workouts. But when it comes to the actual business personal training, where you're going to make money, right? Make a living training the average apparently healthy individual for basic health and wellness and fat loss goals. Yeah, you need to keep it to 3 days a week max. Train them hard, though. Of course, train them hard. But total volume of training is going to be limited. It's going to be limited by the training program, right? By that split routine that you have them working in. So just keep that in mind. Again, we want to help you to be successful in the training business. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comment section below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please tell other folks about it. Have them take a look at it and tell them to subscribe also. Hit that notification bell so you know when our content is coming out. As always, it's a pleasure coming to you each week and giving you these tips. Just let us know how we can be of service to you as well. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Thanks.